June 25th at 7:30 p.m. Ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Oklahoma City now becomes one of 4 NBA teams ever, one of 3 NBA champs ever, to win at least 84 total regular season and postseason games.
It's just the beginning, Ben, and you just look at a team with, these guys at such a young age, and, Chet's got a team option, Ismail Dieng has a team option, Jalen Williams team option, Keyshawn Wallace team option. Hey, Ben, they're all coming back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We are seeing unbelievable temperature surges over the past couple days. So I wanted to ask you this question to let the people know, how do we account for that in our handicapping? 2 good pitchers on the mound, but you look at a place like Wrigley Field, let's just say, 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing out, 90-plus degree temperatures. Is it almost like you say to yourself, you just have to fade the environment and not worry about the pitchers, because if we're hitting fly balls, they're going yard?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
As we know, it's just we enter every year, and it's, is this the Ravens' time? Is this Lamar Jackson's turn? Can they get past the Chiefs and all of these other, stalwarts of the AFC? But it's always really about Kansas City when we're talking Baltimore.
This potentially, Adam, as I send it back to you, potentially is a game changer in that you get a very talented quarter at a discount price.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Hello and welcome to a Wednesday Live right here on the Early Line on SportsGrid and all across the SportsGrid network. That includes sportsgrid.com/watch, where you can find your favorite destination to consume everything all across the grid. And that is where we start on this Wednesday. He is Donnie right side. I am Ben Stevens. Together for the next 3 hours, live until 11 a.m. Eastern time on a jam-packed Wednesday. That is draft day in the association, DRS, on this Wednesday night in Brooklyn, inside the Barclays Center. The opening round, the opening night. Round number 1 of the 2025 NBA draft. So many storylines and themes to break down for you. Cooper Flagg's coronation as the first overall pick. The Dallas Mavericks now officially on the clock. Where will Ace Bailey go? How will the rest of the lottery shake out in the future of the NBA? All tonight. A full Tuesday slate around Major League Baseball to recap for you on this Wednesday morning. And Aaron Rodgers says that the 2025 NFL campaign, DRS, is his last and final in the National Football League. So much to break down over these 3 hours.
I cannot wait for it to happen here, because tonight we're going to see some fireworks go off. My Philadelphia 76ers in the 3 spot. That's where the intrigue actually begins in the draft. Should be great to watch here, and also understand this. Again, one step closer to football season, as next week is July. We're talking about teams in the July teens next month reporting to training camp, and away we go 2 weeks later with some preseason football. But understand this too. Major League Baseball early in the afternoon. Mizorowski going up against Skeens to start this day off yesterday. Just about everything I told you would happen on the show happened. Now today, Mets fans, listen up. You're going to win today. We'll start there.
Maybe the first win against the Atlanta Braves in quite some time for the Amazons. They desperately need it. A once proud organization in this month of June. Quite the opposite here in 2025. And DRS, you kind of have been peering into your crystal ball as of late. A truth sayer if you will, because as the end of the Celtics championship defense came to a close in round 2, with the catastrophic and devastating injury to Jason Tatum, you said the Celtics are going to be in for some sweeping changes this offseason, and that continued on a Tuesday evening. A day after dealing Drew Holiday to the Portland Trailblazers, Brad Stevens not done just yet for the C's. He trades Kristaps Porzingis to the Atlanta Hawks in a 3-team deal. Coming back, George Niang makes his way to Boston, and in the 3-team deal, the Brooklyn Nets involved as well. Busy day in the NBA offseason. Not just Porzingis being dealt to the A, but a swap between the Wizards and the Pelicans. CJ McCollum makes his way to the nation's capital. Jordan Poole and others headed to the Big Easy.
Some of these trades are just hard to even analyze. Like, what's the theory behind the moves? It's usually junk contracts or junk contracts. But obviously, the Celtics getting rid of Porzingis, getting our guy Bang Bang Niang from Philadelphia here. It's another guy that likes to shoot 3-point shots. You want to kid him? Like, you get a couple dudes in that lineup now. It's like, okay, we're going to trade guys away, but just get 3-point shooters as is. What are the Celtics offense going to look like next year? 60-plus 3-point shots per game. They are certainly in a transition, no question about it. And I expect maybe even more deals to come down before we even get to the odds market tonight once we say, hey, who's that number 1 pick going to be? Of course, it's Cooper Flagg, but let's get some more fireworks before we know it's Cooper Flagg.
Brian Fonseca said yesterday in the upside-down Eastern Conference, keep an eye on the Hawks. What did Fonseca know? And the draft tonight, round number 1, housed inside the Barclays Center, the home of the Brooklyn Nets, with the 22nd pick in that 3-team deal going back to BK. The Nets have 5 first-round selections on this Wednesday night. Of course, it will be Cooper Flagg's coronation. It is a new era already for the Dallas Mavericks, who we expect to be a contender for the postseason right away next year. In DRS, Kyrie Irving, once he returns from the torn ACL he suffered late this previous season, he'll be back on a new deal, declining his option, but signing a 3-year, $119 million extension with the Mavericks.
Yeah, pretty interesting, too, because it does help them out to make sure that they can use that mid-level exception, maybe get some help at that point guard position until he does come back. But isn't it nice in the NBA? Like, how many times have we seen this before? Like, Kevin Durant, one of the better players in, basketball, tears the Achilles, won't play the next year. Hey, no big deal. Sign a massive extension. Not knowing if Kyrie Irving, who, again, is 33 years old going into the season next year, he will be 34 by the time it ends. And like, hey, you know what? He's another $119 million. Boy, if you are a good basketball player, you get paid whether you're on the court or not, and it's guaranteed money. But I'm very intrigued by the Dallas Mavericks of what they will look like come, let's just say, April of next year, when Kyrie's probably back in the fold for a playoff run.
Extended Daniel Gafford 2 days ago. Kyrie Irving yesterday, making some moves here in the last 48 hours, all culminating with that number 1 overall pick in Cooper Flagg tonight. Speaking of good basketball players, the Oklahoma City Thunder have plenty, and they held their championship parade yesterday afternoon in OKC in front of more than 500,000 fans. OKC celebrating its first ever NBA championship. There's the MVP, shirt off, hanging out with the crowd.
Yeah, there you go. So there, celebration. You have a couple bottles of champagne. Now, granted, from the pictures that I saw in the post-game celebration, it was like Michelob Light. Yeah, we don't like that. And champagne, what's that? Let's go home and play Fortnite at this point. So maybe they enjoyed themselves, and maybe a very sober parade is what you typically see here, Ben.
Maybe not the biggest party in the locker room afterward for the Thunder, but it looked like the celebration was fun yesterday. DRS, Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee Show, formerly of the SportsGrid Network, telling everybody that this upcoming season with the Pittsburgh Steelers will be his last. Here is the quote from Aaron. Quote, "I'm pretty sure this is it. That's why we just did a 1-year deal. Steelers didn't need to put any extra years on that or anything. This was really about finishing with a lot of love and fun and peace for the career that I've had."
Yeah, and this is the guy that says, yeah, pretty much, which means he'll say by week 7 next year on the Pat McAfee Show, he's having such a good time and nobody knows what the future will hold. He loves to be in the spotlight and then contradicts himself and goes, once I'm out of football, you'll never hear from me again. Well, why are we hearing from you now if you want to be so private at this point? And why couldn't you just answer the question? I'll do it for him, Ben. Hey, Aaron, is this your last year? 100% it is my last year. I'm going to enjoy this ride. He didn't say that. He basically like, leave the door open and ask me every single week I come back on this show here. Madness.
Come on, you know the guy loves the drama.
This is pretty
and
much my
all the
last show
eyeballs.
on the network. How about that? Yeah, pretty
Whoa,
much. I won't
actually?
be back tomorrow. Yeah, ask me every
man.
single day for the rest of time
All
here,
right.
and I'll give you the same answer there, like Aaron
Well,
Rodgers. How about that? Pretty
I
much.
look forward to the early line on a Thursday morning. Ben Stevens and Doug
IGLDRS.
Anderson in. How about we get to some Major League Baseball from a Tuesday? The Major League Baseball debut of Chase Burns, the flamethrower, the second overall pick of last summer, striking out the side 1, 2, 3 in his opening inning of work against the Yankees. Did allow 3 earned, but the Reds rally late to win in extras, a walk-off in 11 innings, 5-4.
Yeah, kid's got some gas. We also knew Rodon was a good pitcher. 6 innings pitched, no earned runs given up, and the Yankees lost. You can't have that.
Yeah, not a great result for the Pinstripes, but the Reds have taken both games of this set. Tarek Skubal, DRS, not great yesterday. Allowed 4 earned, but the Tigers had enough at the plate. They are the first team to 50 wins this year in the Bigs.
Yeah, you like I like the bats yesterday for them, and also was telling you, hey, that big price here, just take them run line first 5 innings. That looked like a terrible wager until it didn't, and it won.
A quadruple header yesterday in the WNBA. The Fever, Mystic Sky, and Wings all get a W for the Indiana Fever. A lot of drama. Veteran DeWanna Bonner acquired this offseason. Juan's out. Caitlin Clark, another game with no made threes. More on the early line up next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
A full slate Tuesday all around Major League Baseball. That's 15 games, all 30 clubs in action that we recap and react for you here live on this Wednesday morning, bright and early on the early line on SportsGrid. The brilliant baseball mind of one DRS on full display in our full docket yesterday, DRS, because when we looked at a game and a pitching matchup between two divisional leaders, two divisional frontrunners, two divisional favorites, Framber Valdez on the bump for Houston. Other side for Philadelphia, Ranger Suarez. We've been talking about how warm it is basically across the entire United States this week and how much offense that should bring. And yet the total yesterday in H-Town, 7.5. And you told us it would be a pitching duel. That's exactly what it was. The Astros blanked the Phils and only score a single run themselves as the home favorites. 1-0. Cooper Hummel, that solo shot in the 8th inning, the only run of the game, slightly getting the better of Ranger Suarez as Framber Valdez blanks the Phils on the other side. 1-0 the victory for the Stros.
Another spectacular start for Ranger Suarez doesn't equate to a victory, but we told you this yesterday. Like, I think even the sevens moved to like 7.5. Like, I don't understand that at this point right now. You take a look at, yes, it is a hitter's ballpark, but Framber Valdez as a dominant lefty, you know the Phillies struggle with dominant lefties here, and Ranger Suarez has been nothing short of spectacular for the past month. So every time I kept looking at this game, checking in, getting the updates, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 1-0 final here. That's a perfect handicap from yesterday because I also said that I like the Astros bats better than the Philadelphia Phillies bats, but it was marginal because of how good those starting pitchers were. So key on the under, they got that done, and I thought the Astros would win that game, and they did, 1-0. We'll see if the Phillies bounce back today. Zach Wheeler is on the mound. They have the better pitching matchup today, and I think it's almost going to be a role reversal, but yesterday we on it. The Astros should have won. They did, and that game should have stayed under the total and went way under the total.
Way under that total of 7.5. DRS, not just two divisional leaders, the Philadelphia Phillies in the NL East, the Houston Astros in the American League West, but both clubs playing really good baseball here in the middle part of June. The Phils entered yesterday winning 10 of their last 11. Houston was 31-27, few games above 500 at the end of the month of May. Now in June with the victory yesterday and a gem on the bump out of Framber Valdez. The Astros are 15-6 straight up in this month of June. The New York Mets in the month of June. Oh boy, they have now lost 10 of their last 11 games here since June 12th, including 5 consecutive L's against the same divisional opponent. That would be the Atlanta Braves, who swept the Mets last week in a 3-game set in the A and have taken both of the first 2 games of our 4-game set this week in Queens. 7-4 the victory for Atlanta yesterday. The Mets struck first in the 4th, but a 5-run 6th inning for Atlanta was the difference. The Braves win it once again, 7-4 over New York.
Yeah, how about Frankie Montas yesterday? 5 innings pitched, coming back, no earned runs given up. Outdueled Spencer Strider, who had 5 innings pitched and 3 earned runs. Sometimes better lucky than good, because I really liked the Atlanta Braves yesterday because I did think they had a pitching matchup. Then leave it up to the bullpen and see where it goes. It was a complete role reversal. The Mets were in full control of this game. Then the bullpen came in and gave it completely away. 7 runs for the Atlanta Braves with not a great offense. That just shows you the struggles of the New York Mets, where now it's like we're not even getting good starting pitching here we're getting good starting pitching, and we just can't get bailed out by our bullpen at this point. Another victory for the Braves, but as I said, we'll preview these games a little bit later. I think there is a bounce back today for the Mets, and absolutely feels like a must-win situation for a reeling New York Mets team.
Certainly so, DRS. June 12th, the Mets were 45-24, best record by a half game, 1 fewer loss than that of the Tigers in all of Major League Baseball. Since 1-10. Again, they have dropped 10 of their last 11 games. A lot of ceremony yesterday in Cincinnati. MLB debut for the 2nd overall pick of the 2024 MLB draft. Already 5 guys making their MLB debuts from the draft last summer. That was the Red starter, Chase Burns, on the bump, a flamethrower who hit the 100-mile-per-hour mark in the opening frame of his Major League Baseball career and struck out all 3 Yankees, including Aaron Judge, that he faced. He had 8 Ks yesterday in his full start. Did allow 3 earned when he left the game since he was trailing, but they rallied with 3 late, and then an extra innings down 4-3 in the 11th. They get a couple of RBIs, and Gavin Lux delivers the game-winning RBI single for Cincinnati. The Reds fight their way back to walk it off against the Pinstripes, 5-4 in Cincy.
Sometimes it's so sick. Take care of the players on base and knock them in. You take a look at the Reds on the game, Ben, 5 of 12 with runners in scoring position, even though they left 9 men on base. But look at the New York Yankees, leaving 7 on base, but 1 of 9 with runners in scoring position. That's where you have to cash in. You take a look at the extra innings, right? Nobody scored in the 10th inning. You get the one that you expect for the Yankees in the top of that inning, but 2 by Cincinnati in the bottom of the 11th was enough to win. Burns will be a fun pitcher to watch. He really will. But honestly, you take a look at the Yankees. They wasted a great start out of Carlos Rodon in that loss.
Who has been having great start after great start this year. For Chase Burns, he struck out the side in both of his first 2 innings and then did allow a couple of earned there in the top of the 4th. But still, he will not get the win in his debut, but his Cincinnati Reds team does. Donnie, when you're looking at Cincy right now, they are now at 42 wins this season, playing a lot better here in the month of June. They were 29-32 on June 2nd. They are now 13-6 since that point. Meanwhile, the Yankees, who once had a large lead atop the American League East, both the Rays and Jays playing a lot better baseball in that division, and the Yanks kind of in a little slump right now. They have dropped 9 of their last 12. You've got a Reds team on the rise and a Yankees team faltering here as of late.
Yeah, that's what happens. You'll bounce back and forth there. But the one thing we have to love to see is the Tampa Bay Rays bringing the bats out, whether they're home or on the road, playing in warm conditions everywhere they go, because they don't have Tropicana Field anymore. If we do take a look in that Central Division in the NL, you take a look at the Reds, 42-38, as you stated, only 4.5 games back of the leaders there, the Chicago Cubs. And also the Reds, winners now of 3 straight games in a row, 7 of their last 10. Things are looking up here. Usually in those Central Divisions, it's quite boring. That's a pretty good division here. And the Reds are a lot of fun. Fun at the plate and also fun now on the mound. It's a really good sign here for the future of the Cincinnati Reds.
No doubt. Hunter Green, already a young bona fide ace for Cincinnati. You add in Chase Burns. They also had a guy they drafted in the first round the year prior to Chase Burns, Brett Lauder, dealing with injuries, but got some dangerous stuff as well. More MLB next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Oklahoma City now becomes one of 4 NBA teams ever, one of 3 NBA champs ever to win at least 84 total regular season and postseason games.
It's just the beginning, Ben, and you just look at a team with, these guys at such a young age, and, Chet's got a team option, Ismail Dieng has a team option, Jalen Williams team option, Keyshawn Wallace team option. Hey, Ben, they're all coming back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We are seeing unbelievable temperature surges over the past couple days. So I wanted to ask you this question to let the people know, how do we account for that in our handicapping? 2 good pitchers on the mound, but you look at a place like Wrigley Field, let's just say, 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing out, 90-plus degree temperatures. Is it almost like you say to yourself, you just have to fade the environment and not worry about the pitchers, because if we're hitting fly balls, they're going yard?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
As we know, it's just we enter every year and it's, is this the Ravens' time? Is this Lamar Jackson's turn? Can they get past the Chiefs and all of these other, stalwarts of the AFC? But it's always really about Kansas City when we're talking Baltimore.
This potentially, Adam, as I send it back to you, potentially is a game changer in that you get a very talented quarter at a discount price.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on this Wednesday morning on the early line on SportsGrid, a full slate Tuesday around Major League Baseball. We continue to recap for you. The Detroit Tigers had the reigning American League Cy Young winner and the hefty favorite to win his second consecutive Cy Young award in that league, Tarek Skubal, on the bump yesterday, DRS, against the Athletics. They were booked as a greater than $3 favorite at home, laying a run and a half on that run line, like you said, at minus 144 might be the way to look, because we weren't sure that the A's would even score a run against Skubal. They got 4. It just so happened the Tigers scored 11. Detroit wins 11-4 to become the first team to 50 wins this year in MLB.
Playing great, too. And again, it was not a great pitching performance, but sometimes a really good lineup, like you're seeing now in the Detroit Tigers, can pick up your pitcher where he doesn't need to have a 1-0 or 2-1 ball game every time he takes the mound. They were down 4-2 at the end of the second inning, played at 5 runs in the third, and never looked back. You take a look at that lineup now. Like Gleyber Torres, you pick him up, he's hitting 281 on the season. You look at Riley Green, 299 on the season. Wenzel Perez has been nothing short of spectacular. He's now above 300, hitting 307 after going 2 for 4 last night with a couple of RBI. So you take a look at that lineup and say, how does it play out the rest of the season? I hope it hits the same way, because that's not a fluke with their 50th win. They're having very good starting pitching with an ace caliber player in Skubal, who didn't need his ace yesterday, and we told you as well. One of the best pitchers yesterday on the card versus one of the worst pitchers on the card, it was Luis Severino. He didn't disappoint. 5 innings pitched, 7 earned runs. That's what's supposed to happen in the heat and humidity.
DRS, the A's, of course, not known for opening the pocketbook all that much, but they made headlines this year by signing Luis Severino to the most expensive, the richest deal the Athletics as an organization have ever handed out. He is now 2-8 with a 4.83 ERA. And Skubal gave up 4 earned, allowed 2 long balls. His ERA now north of 2, or higher than it was yesterday. I think 2.07 entering, now 2.29. But still 9-2 this year. The Tigers have won 9 of the last 10 games that Skubal has started for them. Let's go to the National League Central. By the way, Detroit, 9.5 game league in the American League Central. Everybody else kind of floundering in that division. NL Central, Cubbies in that first place spot. But there are a couple teams keeping pace. We talked about the Reds. How about the Brewers, who got a win yesterday? And now the St. Louis Cardinals, who have taken both of the first 2 meetings between these divisional rivals in St. Louis this week. Wild game yesterday. Cubs led 5-2. Pete Crow Armstrong, a weird play late in the game, not recognizing there was only 2 outs, not 3 outs, that allowed a run to score. Yeah. And that run proved to be crucial, DRS, as St. Louis wins 8-7. And a gem on the hot corner by Nolan Arenado to end the game. The Cardinals get the victory 8-7. Mason Winn a home run and 4 ribbies to lead on the Redbirds.
Yeah, this is one of those games where McGreevy didn't have a lot of statistics to deal off of, and you said, you know what, I might struggle a little bit with right-handed batters and see how it plays out. McGreevy goes 4 2/3 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, but even worse was Jamison Tyone. 4 innings pitched, 8 hits, 8 earned runs, and only 3 strikeouts. He gave up 3 home runs in that game. Not good enough. It's interesting, like the Cardinals don't look like a great lineup as is, and also understanding they only had 3 chances with runners in scoring position, going 1 of 3, and still played at 8 runs. Why? When you hit home runs, man, it makes it a lot easier on your offense.
Speaking of hitting home runs, DRS, the Los Angeles Angels walk it off in extra against the Red Sox, despite 7 innings of scoreless work and 10 Ks from their starter in Garrett Crochet. Why? The rookie out of Tennessee, Christian Moore, a game-tying home run in the 8th for the Halos that forced the extra innings. And in the 10th, he hits a walk-off home run with his team trailing. He was responsible for all 3 runs that LA scored yesterday. Donnie, he is the first player in a single game in MLB history to hit a game-tying home run in regulation, a walk-off home run with his team trailing in extras, and account for every single run his team scored. The rookie out of Tennessee, Christian Moore, gets the job done in glamorous fashion yesterday in Anaheim.
Yeah, and Anderson on the mound yesterday. Nobody loves his analytics. And once again, he does stump for 4 2/3 innings pitched and 1 earned run. I had a couple RBI props in this game that I thought would work out in my favor. That was Gonzalez and Narvaez. They want to combine 0 for 8 with 3 strikeouts. So this guy, he don't care about what the statistics say or how he's supposed to get hammered. Another good pitching performance, as I just scratch my head sometimes at some of these Angels pitchers that should get lit up, and sometimes they don't. And last night, 10 innings pitched, only 2 runs given up in the entire game, and one of those was a ghost runner. That's wild, man. Angels pitching their lights out, being close to 500 now.
Chase Burns, the 5th rookie from the MLB draft last summer to debut. Christian Moore, the 8th pick last summer. Noah Syndergaard, only 32 years old, signs a minor league deal with the Chicago White Sox. They could use all the help, I guess. NBA Draft Day next.
Just seemed like a salary dump, and that's what the shocking part of it is. But also, let's take a look at this. From a Giants perspective, they have money to spend. People weren't taking their money. Now that they hit the trade market, and quite frankly, I thought they got a steal. You're talking about a guy that should be good in the major leagues for the next 7 to 8 years in his prime, and the going rate of a salary for a great baseball player from the free agent market, it's $300+ million. I thought San Francisco made out well.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
What do you make of this price tag here, reportedly, of $1.7 billion for a club that right now technically doesn't even have a home ballpark?
We don't see a lot of teams sold in Major League Baseball. I mean, if you go back to 2020, Steve Cohen bought the New York Mets for $2.4 billion. The only team sold since then was the Orioles last year, also for around $1.7 billion.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It was the first time, I think, in Dodgers history that the ballpark was full in the first inning. Everybody was there to see Shohei Ohtani throw his first pitch as a Dodger, and I had mixed emotions about this for a few reasons. Number one, it was a reminder of, wow, this is so crazy, right? You're watching him hit 98, 99, even 100 on the radar gun going, this guy's not human. Nobody should be able to be this good of a hitter or this good of a pitcher.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I can't even believe I'm saying pitcher's battle and using the words Patrick Corbin. But can I tell you, Scott, he's a different guy. He's a totally different guy with the Rangers than we've seen.
I say this all the time. You know, don't worry about the first 5 innings. Like, don't even watch the first 5 innings in Texas Ranger games. Because for whatever reason, there's a ton of runs scored in the first 5, and then it just stops. It just stops.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Draft day around the association. The 2025 NBA Draft, now a 2-night event in Brooklyn. Well, night number 1, round number 1, the lottery and the rest of the 16 picks in this opening round tonight inside the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. He is Donnie. I am Ben. We give you your 2025 NBA Draft primer here to end out this opening hour. The prospects, the picks, the draft order, and of course those wagers that you need to know here on the opening night of the NBA Draft. Our coach, J.Y. James Young, will join us in hour number 2 for an even deeper dive. DRS, so many headlines to break down, right? When you look at the entirety of this draft, we'll show you the entire draft order now for round number 1. And of course, when you start at the very top, that's the main story coming in. The Dallas Mavericks winning the NBA Draft lottery back in the month of May was a complete stunner. A 1.8% chance, the 4th worst percentage to ever claim the number 1 overall pick since the lottery became a thing back in 1985. And of course, it all circulates and follows what was a tumultuous year in Big D. Nico Harrison playing the villain around the NBA, trading the superstar in Luka Doncic to the LA Lakers. And I don't know if reward is the right word, but rewarded with the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. And of course, Cooper's coronation tonight in Brooklyn as that first overall selection.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch it play out, and the expectations were that Cooper Flag was going to go number 1, but we do have some shakeups that we're going to take a look at. But understand this too: you look at the FanDuel Sportsbook, and if you just want to say, how much of a upset it would be for Cooper Flagg not to go number one. If you put a $100 bet down on Cooper Flagg going number one overall, you get 10 cents back in your return. Not $1, not $5, not $10 on the 100. You get 10 cents back on your return, which I always find funny was those odds still stay up, but they do stay up for a reason. But for me tonight, you're just watching the coronation of a player that we think is going to be great. The minute that we saw the ping pong balls land and the number one overall pick went to Dallas, you knew immediately who that pick was going to be, reminiscent of what you used to watch back in the day, like, hey, I won the lottery, and the 32 for the Orlando Magic came out right away. You had the general manager holding up saying, hey, it's Shaquille O'Neal. We don't have to wait here to the draft a month later. We won this guy. That's what you get out of the Dallas Mavericks with Cooper Flagg.
Absolutely so, right? The generational talent, highly touted since he really started playing high school basketball in Maine. We knew he was going to Duke. We knew he was the number one overall recruit. And of course, DRS, he backed that up with his performance during his lone year in college basketball. As a freshman, won National Player of the Year accolades in basically all of the main ones, including the Wooden Award. Won the National Freshman of the Year, ACC Player of the Year, ACC Rookie of the Year. 42 points against Notre Dame back in January to set a scoring record both for Duke and all ACC freshmen in the history of that illustrious conference in men's college basketball. Cooper Flagg had the generational talent tag behind him, DRS, and then lived up and maybe even surpassed our expectation. Here is the draft lottery. We will break it down. Of course, the Mavericks select first overall. The San Antonio Spurs, who have been in the top five now each of the last 3 years, Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle out of UConn a season ago, are two reigning rookies of the year in the NBA. They have the second overall pick. Donnie's Philadelphia 76ers, that third overall selection. All three of those clubs, Donnie, moving up in the lottery in generous fashion. Fourth overall, the Charlotte Hornets. The Utah Jazz had the worst record at 17-65 in the NBA this year. And fall to the fifth overall pick, the Wizards had the second worst mark. They had the sixth overall selection tonight in Brooklyn.
Yeah, and it is interesting how it played out, too, because typically if you're just running it through the computer, the odds and statistics here, like 1.8% chance to get the number one overall pick, and they got that pick. And again, this is probably one of those years that the NBA is like, well, maybe we don't like that because I know people like to breed into conspiracy theories where, oh, no, you made a mistake. Dallas is a big market. We can't have that happen. But Dallas, please give a superstar to LA to keep that market thriving. And in return, we'll give you a superstar in the draft and everything goes down. Now, it's hard because obviously one person would have to rig the entire selection process, and we know that's probably not the case, but it's still fun to read into. But as I said before, I like this because Cooper Flagg, the expectations are he's going to be a star. And I say this all the time. Don't waste him in Charlotte. That is a terrible franchise. Don't waste him in Washington. They will never get it together. Put him in a situation where he has a chance to succeed, and we can watch him in primetime next year and all enjoy. And hey, how about this? Maybe a rookie that plays extremely well and gets to the playoffs as opposed to, hey, did you catch that Cooper Flagg game with Washington? Yeah, man, they picked up their 9th victory. Oh, it's March 13th here. Yeah, that's a great season they're having right now. I love the fact that the teams that weren't supposed to win it, which means ready-made teams waiting for the playoffs in the top three, they're going to get great basketball players to get into the playoffs. I think it's a major win for the NBA and its fans.
DRS, those top three teams, as you alluded to, we'll see about Philadelphia in the Eastern Conference. They've got the fifth best number. Both the Mavericks and the Spurs, two of the 10 best prices to win the Western Conference crown this upcoming season as well. Have to love what you are seeing out of San Antonio. 7th overall, by the way, as you saw, the New Orleans Pelicans. The Brooklyn Nets draft 8th, the home team tonight. They'll be celebrating a ton, I think, inside the Barclays Center. They have 5 first-round picks on this Wednesday night in the opening round now in total after the 3-team deal that sent Kristaps Porzingis to Atlanta yesterday evening. The Raptors draft 9th. The Phoenix Suns have the 10th pick, but technically it will be the Houston Rockets making the call into the league office because of the Kevin Durant deal that does not become official until July 6th. The Trailblazers busy this week in the acquisition of Drew Holiday at 11, Chicago 12, Atlanta via a trade with the Kings at 13. And oh yeah, the Spurs have a second lottery pick tonight to round out those first 14 selections at number 14 overall. That is the draft order, DRS. Here is what the odds are telling us. We have already called it the Cooper Flagg coronation. It is not a matter of if, it is just a matter of when it becomes officially confirmed. that Cooper Flagg is a Dallas Maverick. A minus 100,000 price for Flagg to end up in the Mavericks organization. Dylan Harper, a staunch favorite out of Rutgers, to go second overall to the San Antonio Spurs at minus 900. Slightly stronger number on VJ Edgecombe to be that third overall pick at minus 350. And now Con Knippel, Cooper Flagg's bestie and his teammate this year at Duke, minus 180 to be that fourth overall pick. And a change at the number 5 spot, a guy you will see frequently in the odds markets in the top 10. Jeremiah Fears, the outstanding rookie freshman, this past season at Oklahoma. Donnie, one of the stories we talked about yesterday, only the top 3 in minus money with an odds-on favorite yesterday. Now we have that fourth pick in Con Knippel, who was also an odds-on favorite at minus 180 to go to Charlotte.
Yeah, it probably should have been like this too, right? Cooper Flagg goes 1, and then you take a look at Con Knippel still in the top 5, which would have had an interesting, look if Rutgers had 2 kids in the top 5 as well, which if Ace Bailey would have been in the top 5 if he didn't tank his draft stock. But it's just that look of, hey, Duke had a really good season, maybe came up big, but they made a deep run into the NCAA tournament when Rutgers didn't even make it in. And both of those guys technically should have been going into the top 5. But I'm excited because, again, I am a Sixers fan. Number 3 on the board are the Philadelphia 76ers, and that's where the draft starts, where we don't know who it's going to be. Are there going to be some surprises? We'll have those beat writers embedded all day long telling us those information that's going to leak out, but usually the odds makers are the ones that know best with the information. And it used to be Ace Bailey. The minute those ping pong balls dropped, 1, 2, 3 felt like it was a formality at this point until Ace dropped his stock. Now VJ Edgecombe, which was thought to be the number 4 overall selection, has jumped into the number 3, giving good interviews and saying, you know what? Hey, Sixers, come draft me. I hope they like Bahamians there in the city because I'm ready to get busy. It looks like it's going to be VJ Edgecombe to the Philadelphia 76ers to get that party started.
Yeah, it certainly does, DRS. We'll continue to talk about the top 3. Again, it is always the caveat, whether the NFL or NBA draft, heck, even the WNBA or MLB draft. If you bet VJ Edgecombe to go 3rd overall, and he is the 3rd selection, the 3rd name called tonight inside the Barclays Center, but it's not to Philadelphia, you still win that bet because we could see some more chaos in a summer already of maneuvers in the NBA. We'll discuss that in the Ace Bailey Draft Stock Slide next.
Just seemed like a salary dump, and that's what the shocking part of it is. But also, let's take a look at this. From a Giants perspective, they have money to spend. People weren't taking their money. Now that they hit the trade market, and quite frankly, I thought they got a steal. You're talking about a guy that should be good in the major leagues for the next 7 to 8 years in his prime, and the going rate of a salary for a great baseball player from the free agent market, it's $300+ million. I thought San Francisco made out well.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
What do you make of this price tag here, reportedly, of $1.7 billion for a club that right now technically doesn't even have a home ballpark?
We don't see a lot of teams sold in Major League Baseball. I mean, if you go back to 2020, Steve Cohen bought the New York Mets for $2.4 billion. The only team sold since then was the Orioles last year, also for around $1.7 billion.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It was the first time, I think, in Dodgers history that the ballpark was full in the first inning. Everybody was there to see Shohei Ohtani throw his first pitch as a Dodger, and I had mixed emotions about this for a few reasons. Number one, it was a reminder of, wow, this is so crazy, right? You're watching him hit 98, 99, even 100 on the radar gun going, this guy's not human. Nobody should be able to be this good of a hitter or this good of a pitcher.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I can't even believe I'm saying pitcher's battle and using the words Patrick Corbin. But can I tell you, Scotty, he's a different guy. He's a totally different guy with the Rangers than we've seen.
I say this all the time. Don't worry about the first 5 innings. Don't even watch the first 5 innings in Texas Ranger games. Because for whatever reason, there's a ton of runs scored in the first 5, and then it just stops. It just stops.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
So perhaps the first storyline of the 2025 NBA draft on the night of this round 1 Wednesday is Cooper Flagg and his coronation going first overall to the Dallas Mavericks. Then it's a couple of Rutgers players. Dylan Harper, minus 9,000 to go second overall. That's where the San Antonio Spurs are drafting. And Donnie, we really expected the top 3, where VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor is now the minus 340 favorite to go third to the Sixers, to look a lot like the recruiting rankings did of the 2025 class that we saw play their freshman year of college basketball last year. Flagg 1, Harper 2, Ace Bailey number 3. Harper's teammate at Rutgers this past year, albeit a disappointing season in Piscataway, but that's college basketball history. We're talking about the future of the NBA. We really thought, DRS, as the draft lottery played out in the middle of May, it was going to more than likely look Flagg 1, Harper 2, Bailey 3. But Ace Bailey's had an interesting pre-draft process. He has not done well in interviews. He has canceled some workouts and pre-draft visits with teams selecting early on, including the 76ers at 3rd overall. Here are the odds on Ace Bailey. And the confounding thing remains, DRS, he is a minus 200 favorite to be a top 5 pick, and yet is not favored to go 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. The spot where he is favored with the shortest price is 6th overall at plus 130. It's where the Wizards are selecting right now. Ultimately, DRS, when is Ace Bailey going to hear his name called on this Wednesday in Brooklyn?
I think he's still going to be a top 5 pick, but understand this. Here's what doesn't make sense about what Ace Bailey and his team are doing right now. Because you could say, like, okay, I want to tank my draft stock. I want to get to a certain team. I understand that. Like, we don't want to go here. We don't want to go here. We want to be in Brooklyn. We want to be in Washington, where maybe I can get a team where we're going to be bad, but I can really mature and I can shoot 15 times a game. Nobody's going to yell at me even 20 times a game, and not be with a veteran presence who's going to say, hey, you're going to come off the bench. You're going to learn the hard way here. But understand this. What he told the Philadelphia 76ers, or at least his camp did, contradicts everything there. I don't want to go to Philadelphia. But now word comes down that he goes, all right, we'll work out for you, but guarantee me the number 3 pick that you're going to pick me. Well, wait a second. You don't want to be in Philadelphia, but if I work out, guarantee me that you'll pick me at 3, even if I don't want to be there. But if you don't guarantee, I don't want to be in Philadelphia because it's not a good fit. But if you guarantee the number 3 pick and it's you, I'll go there. See what I mean? It doesn't make any sense even which way you try to explain it at this point. So the fact that he's dropping is crazy, but also it's just like the whole thing is this kid probably, if he again had good workouts and good interviews. We always know how the draft process works. The minute the ping pong balls come down, it's 1, 2, and 3, and Harper is supposed to be the 2. But we see it in college football all the time. Hey, Stone Cold Surefire number 1 at the end of the football season. And he goes, hey, man, this guy's tearing it up. He has great chalk talk right now. He had a private workout that absolutely slayed. He might be moving up in the draft. We always get movers and shakers. We just never think it's going to be the mover and shaker going like, I'm a good player. Let me tank my stock to move down. Like, what happens if Ace Bailey had great interviews, but again, great workouts? It's like, hey, he's going number 2 overall to the, San Antonio Spurs. And where does he benefit from that? In money. The higher you go, the more money you make over that rookie deal. And it's not like it's $100,000 a year difference or 50 grand. It's millions and could be tens of millions of dollars that he gives up by slotting lower here. And nobody knows how things work out. You could hurt your ankle bad. You could tear your Achilles. You could have a knee issue here. You could not be the player that everybody thought you would be. But you know what? If you got drafted too, you got 5 years of a really good contract that you can turn in and retire off of. And I'm not saying that 7 or 8 or 9, you can't do that. But that's a lot of money to pass up and have that much gratitude to the NBA by going, I'll pick where I go and watch it turn out.
Arius Ace Bailey, DRS. It was supposed to be a historic men's basketball season for the Scarlet Knights. Of course, it was disappointing after being ranked in the preseason AP top 25. But record setters they were. Dylan Harper, now the Rutgers scoring freshman record with 564 points. The guy that has the second most points by a Rutgers freshman in program history. That would be Ace at 527. And when Dylan Harper was dealing with some injuries and an illness during the college basketball season, it was Ace Bailey putting up historic performances. A 39-point, 8-rebound, 4-block performance against Indiana in January, matching the Rutgers freshman scoring record for a game. Just the second D1 freshman since Andrew Wiggins at Kansas in 2014, who has had a great NBA career, to put up a stat line of 39 points, 8 boards, and 4 blocks. The guy can hoop. He might take some bad shots at times, but he can hoop. It's not a matter of his basketball talent, though, it would seem right now. DRS, the remainder of the top 10 after those first 5. Again, Ace Bailey, minus 200 to go top 5, but only favored to go 6th overall at plus 130. Another sensational Duke freshman, the big man, Kamal Malawach, is the favorite to go 7th overall. Jeremiah Fears, who is now the favorite to go 5th, also the favorite to go 8th at plus 380. Oh, wait, there's Kamal Malawach again, the favorite to go 9th. And Derek Queen, the sensational diaper dandy from Maryland, is the favorite to go 10th overall at plus 390. It would seem, DRS, to make sense, by the way, for Queen to go to the Valley because the Phoenix Suns now have that 10th overall pick in the KD deal with the Houston Rockets, because basically they only have shooting guards on the roster at this moment. We'll see ultimately what the Rockets call in for the Suns tonight. Don't be confused. When Houston makes the pick, that player is headed to Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll find out a lot. And that's what makes the intrigue good, because we know 1 and 2. We don't know 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You usually have a good feel of like where these teams are going and what they should do. But also some teams talking about trading up in the draft and trading down in the draft. So we'll see what some of those teams do with the movers and shakers and how much capital, should I say draft capital or future draft capital or players you're going to have to pay to move up. But again, the intrigue starts there with, I mean, Ace Bailey, flag is there in Harvard.
Sure.
But the intrigue is with Ace Bailey of how bad he tanked this stock, or we could just get to where it lands. Like, hey, number 3 pick, it's the Philadelphia 76ers drafting Ace Bailey at 3, like they were always going to do, and saying, you know what, spoke with them, everything was overblown, we took care of it, this is the guy we want. Or they could go Edgecombe, or the Philadelphia 76ers could shake it up entirely and just trade out of the 3rd pick if they're just saying, boy, we love VJ Edgecombe, but in their own building, like, we got to put that word out here, because why would we say we love this kid if, you know, we say, oh, it's going to be our draft? You might want to sell somebody who'll take in that 3rd pick if you're not sold on that 3rd pick. Wild times tonight. Should be fun to watch starting at 3, though.
Would not be surprised, DRS, by any means, if we saw some more movement in the draft order, either leading into the draft or during round number 1. Some more familiar faces in the draft next.
I can't even believe I'm saying pitcher's battle and using the words Patrick Corbin. But can I tell you, Scotty, he's a different guy. He's a totally different guy with the Rangers than we've seen.
I say this all the time. You know, don't worry about the first 5 innings. Like, don't even watch the first 5 innings in Texas Ranger games, because for whatever reason, there's a ton of runs scored in the first 5, and then it just stops. It just stops.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
No way that I'm betting on the Cleveland Cavaliers for any reason whatsoever.
No.
Ever. Like, when they had LeBron James, it was a different story. I do not believe, I think Spider's great. He's no LeBron. I don't see him carrying them to a title. And I don't believe in the Knicks at all. The Knicks never get it done.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Kevin Durant, at the age of 36 years old, after 17 seasons that he has played in the NBA, DRS, is now on his way to H-Town.
I don't think it's a great move. I wanted him to go to a ready-made championship team full of a veteran roster and see if he can ring chase that way. Not to go to an organization on the come-up that if you just stay the course, and also, what better blueprint do we have than just staying the course and OKC, right?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's an interesting NBA draft here in 2025. It's a sign of the times in the collegiate landscape of college basketball as well, with NIL in full force and the ability to make multiple millions of dollars for 1 year of play, either at your old school or a new school. A lot of guys, DRS, decided to not declare for the NBA draft in return to college. Great for college basketball in 2025-26. Maybe not great overall for the depth of this draft class after the top 5, top 10, or outside of the lottery. Only 106 entrants in the NBA draft, the fewest we have seen in quite some time. But still many familiar faces that might not go on to be an NBA All-Star, but from their collegiate days. Walter Clayton Jr., the most outstanding player of the Final Four, who took over for the Gators en route to a national championship. Some questions, Donnie, even during his highlights in the madness, that maybe his game wouldn't translate to the NBA. Now a minus 190 favorite to go in the top 20. How about Danny Wolf, the big man via Michigan and Yale? Smooth, silky 7-footer who can shoot and dime, minus 140. The freshman from Michigan State, Jace Richardson, following in the footsteps of his father, minus 105 to be a top 20 pick. Liam McNeely, sensational freshman season at UConn, even money to go in the top 20. And some of the best bigs in college basketball. Ryan Kalkbrenner, a record setter at Creighton, and Janai Broome, who basically finished runner-up in the Wooden Award voting, only behind Cooper Flagg. 14-1 for Kalkbrenner, top 20, 60-1 for Broome. Long shot prices, DRS, but players we expect to hear their names called, if not tonight, probably tomorrow in round number 2.
Yeah, it's always fun to see like how good some of these college players are. Like Janai Broome was fighting, and some people would have told you he was the better college, not prospect, the better player in college than Cooper Flagg was. Flagg is easily the number 1 overall pick, going to be a generational talent as we expect. And Janai Broome's like, hey, I hope I get drafted in the second round of the draft. It's just kind of wild how those projections turn out. But this is one of those drafts where I looked at last year. And it like top to bottom, first pick all the way through. Like there's some decent players, but underwhelming with names all the way through. This draft, you have the superstar talent up top, but yet you see the second round mock drafts. You're like, you know what? I know that guy. I've seen that guy play before. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that this draft has a lot of notoriety because the people that watched college basketball or just understand the names in college basketball, you're going to get those all the way through, as opposed to last year. It's like, well, who's going 1 and who's going 2? Never heard of these guys, could care less. And those guys did, I don't know, barely a drip last year because the teams that they're on were bad and they're trying to be future players. We get that. It was like, hey, where's Bronny James going at this point? And he went in the second round. But at least this one has intrigue where you're talking second round picks where you have technical guys that were like player of the year candidates and really good household names being able to go. It just adds to the intrigue as opposed to, hey, the 60th or the 38th overall pick. Hey, he's coming out of Senegal. He's going to be a stash guy. We'll see him in 6 years. Like, thank goodness we have some real names that we understand.
And to your point, DRS, again, only 106 entrants into the NBA draft, the lowest number since 2015, down from a peak of 363 in the 2021 draft. Why is that date significant? That was right before, at the end of June, NIL was put into practice on July 1st, 2021. And to your point about the international players making the way over, of course, we have seen a ton of even elderly by college standards international stars who have played professionally in Europe sign with college basketball programs. Basically, if your last name ends in itch, you're playing for Illinois this upcoming season in college hoops. Only 27 international players have declared early for the NBA draft, DRS, our lowest number in nearly a decade and a half since 2012. So a sign of the times, perhaps, because of the strength of college basketball. But again, you'll see some of those familiar names either later in round number 1, after the lottery comes to a close, and they might not be all stars or all NBA selections in their career, but can they be a role player, a reserve player, somebody in the starting 5 that makes a difference? Absolutely so.
Yes, and that's the goal here, especially for the NBA, which why do you tune into the draft? You want to hear names that you like. You tune into the NHL draft. Like, man, we've never seen these guys before. Major League Baseball, they're 17-year-old, 18-year-old high schoolers that are getting drafted at this point. That's why the NFL is so popular. Like, you'll watch for days of the draft and get to the 5th round, like, that guy's a really good player. I know who he is. At least in the NBA, it's like, hey, the first 6 picks you know, and you don't know anybody else. That's not the case in this draft. You're getting household names all the way through, and that's what we asked for. Hey, I watched that guy play. Heard his his name get announced, I can get involved in this and have some fun and watch the NBA draft. At least we have that going for us this year, and that should be a positive.
More around the NBA draft with the coach, JY James Young, later on in hour number 2. He'll be a part of our 2025 NBA draft special tonight on SportsGrid. Myself, JY, Kevin Walsh, and Tom Vecchio. Speaking of hour 2, it's next.